You search your pockets and find a small pouch containing a few coins, a piece of parchment with an address written on it, and a rusty dagger. What will you do next? You make your way out of the alley and into the bustling streets. The town is alive with activity, merchants hawking their wares and people going about their daily business. You find a vendor selling bread and water, and purchase some for yourself. As you explore the town, you notice that the address on the parchment leads to a nearby tavern. What will you do next? You continue to explore the town, taking note of the various shops and businesses. You overhear some gossip about a recent string of robberies in the area, and rumors of a powerful wizard living in a nearby tower. As you wander, you come across an old woman selling trinkets and potions from a small cart. She beckons you over. What will you do next? The old woman greets you with a toothless smile and offers to sell you some of her potions. She claims they can cure any ailment or grant temporary boosts to your abilities. She also tells you about a secret passage that leads to the wizard's tower, but warns that it is guarded by dangerous creatures. What will you do next? You purchase a potion from the old woman and ask her for more information about the secret passage. She tells you that it is located in the sewers beneath the town, and that you will need to navigate through them to reach the tower. She warns you again of the dangerous creatures that guard it, but also mentions that there may be valuable treasures hidden within. What will you do next? You continue to explore the town, taking in the sights and sounds of the bustling medieval streets. You come across a blacksmith shop and notice that he has some weapons for sale. You also see a group of guards patrolling the area, keeping an eye out for any troublemakers. What will you do next? You make your way to the tavern, a lively establishment with music and laughter spilling out onto the street. Inside, you see a mix of locals and travelers enjoying food and drink. You take a seat at the bar and order a meal. As you eat, you overhear some patrons talking about recent robberies in the area, mentioning that they suspect it may be the work of a group of bandits who have been causing trouble in nearby towns. What will you do next? You finish your meal and leave the tavern, taking note of the information you overheard about the bandits. As you walk through the streets, you see a group of guards questioning a suspicious-looking man. They seem to be accusing him of theft. What will you do next? You take out the piece of parchment from your pouch and examine it. It has an address written on it, but you still have no idea what it means or who it belongs to. What will you do next? You approach a group of townspeople and ask if they know anything about the address on your parchment. They shake their heads, saying they've never heard of it before. You continue to ask around town, but no one seems to have any information for you. What will you do next? You ask around town and eventually find a small library tucked away in a quiet corner. The librarian is an elderly woman who seems to know a lot about the town's history. You show her the address on your parchment, and she recognizes it as belonging to an old mansion on the outskirts of town. She tells you that it used to belong to a wealthy merchant family but has been abandoned for years. What will you do next? You ask around town and learn that the merchant family who used to live in the mansion was rumored to be involved in shady business dealings. Some say they were smugglers, while others claim they dabbled in black magic. Regardless, their sudden disappearance years ago left many unanswered questions. What will you do next? You continue your investigation and discover that the merchant family was indeed involved in smuggling and black magic. They were rumored to have a secret room in the mansion where they conducted the dark rituals. As for the recent robberies, some speculate that it could be related to the family's past activities. What will you do next? You report your findings to the guards, who thank you for your help and promise to investigate further. As you leave the guard station, you notice a hooded figure watching you from a distance. What will you do next? As you approach the hooded figure, they quickly turn and disappear into the darkness of the alleyway. You hear their footsteps echoing as they run away. What will you do next? You chase after the hooded figure, but they seem to be too fast for you. You lose sight of them as they turn a corner and disappear into the darkness. What will you do next? You ask around town, but no one seems to have any information about the hooded figure. However, you do hear rumors of a group of bandits who have been causing trouble in nearby towns. What will you do next? You report the bandits to the guards, who thank you for the information and promise to investigate. As you walk away from the guard station, you hear a faint whisper behind you. When you turn around, no one is there. What will you do next? You search the area where you heard the whisper, but find nothing out of the ordinary. As you turn to leave, you notice a shadowy figure watching you from a nearby rooftop. What will you do next? cautiously approach the figure on the rooftop, but they quickly disappear into the shadows. You hear a faint chuckle behind you and turn around to see the hooded figure from before standing in front of you. They reveal themselves to be a member of a secret society that has been monitoring your movements since you arrived in town. They offer to help you uncover the truth about your past and the strange occurrences happening in town, but warn you that it will come at a cost. What will you do next? The society member explains that they require your assistance in a dangerous mission to retrieve an ancient artifact from a cursed tomb. They warn you that the tomb is guarded by powerful magic and deadly traps, and that failure could result in dire consequences. In exchange for your help, they promise to provide you with information about your past and aid in uncovering the truth about the strange occurrences in town. What will you do next? The society member nods understandingly and offers to provide you with information about the town and its inhabitants, as well as any leads they may have on your past. They also offer to train you in combat and magic, should you wish to improve your skills. What will you do next? The society member nods and leads you to a secluded area where they begin to teach you the basics of combat and magic. They also provide you with information about the town's history, its inhabitants, and any rumors or secrets they have uncovered. As you train and learn, you start to feel more confident in your abilities and knowledge. What will you do next? The society member nods and tells you that they have been investigating your past since you arrived in town. They reveal that you were once a skilled warrior, but something happened that caused you to lose your memory and end up in this town. They also mention that there are rumors of a powerful artifact that may hold the key to unlocking your memories, but it is said to be guarded by dangerous creatures in a nearby cave. What will you do next? The society member tells you that they have heard rumors of a powerful wizard living in the nearby tower who may be able to help you. However, they warn that the wizard is known for being reclusive and difficult to approach. They also suggest that you continue investigating the mansion and its ties to smuggling and black magic, as it may hold clues to your past. What will you do next? You make your way back to the abandoned mansion, taking caution as you approach the broken front door. As you step inside, you are greeted by a musty smell and darkness. You can barely see anything in front of you, but you hear faint whispers coming from deeper within the mansion. What will you do next? You move cautiously towards the whispers, trying to stay as quiet as possible. As you get closer, you can make out a faint conversation between two voices. One voice sounds deep and menacing, while the other is soft and pleading. You strain your ears to listen in on their conversation, but it's difficult to make out what they're saying. What will you do next? focus your mind and channel your magic, enhancing your hearing to pick up on the conversation. As you listen in, you hear the deep voice demanding something from the soft voice, who seems to be pleading for mercy. Suddenly, there's a loud crash and the sound of footsteps approaching. The two figures quickly scatter in opposite directions. What will you do next? You stay hidden and watch as the two figures run in opposite directions. The deep-voiced figure heads towards the back of the mansion, while the soft-voiced one disappears into a nearby room. What will you do next? You cautiously approach the room and peek inside. You see a small, cluttered space with various objects scattered around, including books, potions, and strange artifacts. The soft-voiced figure is nowhere to be seen, but you hear a faint whispering sound coming from one of the corners. What will you do next? You cautiously approach the pile of books and notice that one of them seems to be moving slightly. As you reach out to investigate, the book suddenly flies off the pile and hits you in the face, knocking you back. You hear a cackling sound coming from the corner as a small, mischievous-looking imp appears before you. "Gotcha!" it exclaims with a grin. What will you do next? The imp chuckles and replies, "I'm just a little troublemaker, causing chaos wherever I go. And as for what I'm doing here, well, this is my home now. The wizard who used to live here left me in charge when he went away on business." It hops off the pile of books and starts rummaging through a nearby chest. "Say, you look like you could use some help. How about we make a deal? I'll give you some useful information if you do me a favor." What will you do next? The imp grins even wider and says, "I know a secret passage that leads to the wizard's treasure room. It's filled with all sorts of magical artifacts and gold coins. But I can't get in there myself, since the wizard put a powerful spell on the door. If you can break the spell for me, I'll show you where it is." It pulls out a small map from the chest and hands it to you. "Here's the location of the passage. What do you say? What will you do next?" The imp's grin fades slightly, and it says, "I understand your caution. But I assure you, I have connections in this town that give me access to valuable information. And if you don't believe me, you can always try to find the passage on your own." It hops off the books and lands on the ground, looking up at you expectantly. "So, what do you say? Are you interested in breaking into the wizard's treasure room? What will you do next?" The imp shrugs and says, "There's always a risk involved in these kinds of things. But I can tell you that the wizard rarely leaves his tower, and even if he does, he has many other spells to worry about besides the treasure room. Plus, with my help, we can make sure to avoid any guards or traps along the way." It looks up at you with pleading eyes. "Please, just give me a chance. You won't regret it. What will you do next?" The imp nods understandingly. "Of course. What do you want to know? What will you ask the imp?" The imp grins mischievously. Oh, all sorts of things. Gold, jewels, magical artifacts, you name it. The wizard has been collecting treasures from all over the land for years. And with my knowledge of magic, we can easily bypass any security measures he may have in place. What will you do next? The imp nods and disappears in a puff of smoke. You are left alone to ponder your next move. As you stand outside the wizard's tower, you can't help but feel drawn to the mystery and potential riches inside. But at the same time, you know that it could be a dangerous and foolhardy endeavor. What will you do next?